I'm Tonya McGrath. On this special week-long edition of the PowerPLAY RePLAY, I'm celebrating some women in power who are near to my heart and are part of this weekend's World Vitiligo Day Conference in Minnesota. I'm so proud to be a part of this community who live to support and empower people living with vitiligo, the focus of my upcoming film documentary, More Than Our Skin. As I've been sharing over the past year, I've been working on this project focusing on the lives of 5 women, Valarie, Katrina, Millicent, Alicia, and Patricia, all living with vitiligo. So each day this week, you will hear a bit of their journeys and how their pain became their purpose to help others in their communities. It's a special week-long PowerPLAY RePLAY, and it begins now. Hey, it's March and it's National Women's Month, and I'm kicking off my Empowering Women series where all month long I'm highlighting one of the amazing women from my upcoming documentary film, More Than Our Skin. This week, Valarie Molyneaux, founder and CEO of VitFriends, sits down with me to discuss her work, her hopes, and what it means for her to be a part of this important film project. That's coming up next on The PowerPLAY Show.
From the studios at Hellbait Productions, this is Season 3 of The PowerPLAY Show. Now, here's Tonya McGrath.
Welcome to the PowerPLAY Show. I'm Tonya McGrath, and this is the premiere of my Empowering Women series. All month long, I'll be celebrating some women in power who are very near and dear to my heart. As I've mentioned and I've shared over the past year, I'm working on my second film project, More Than Our Skin, a documentary focusing on the lives of 5 women living with the autoimmune disease vitiligo. Today, my first guest in this series is Valarie Molyneaux, founder and CEO of VitFriends, a patient advocacy group that encourages, educates, and empowers members of the vitiligo community to know all there is to know about their disease, to advocate for themselves, to be comfortable in their own skin, and to live their best life now. I love that. Here to talk about how this all started is Valarie Molyneaux. Valarie, welcome to the PowerPLAY Show.
Thank you, Ms. Tonya. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
You know, you and I met many years ago through our church, but I just want you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, your family, just a little bit about who you are.
Well, again, as you've heard, Valarie Molyneaux, wife, mother, teacher, bank officer, community activist, church board member, and the list goes on and on. Many hats, but the greatest of which is being a mom to my wonderful sons, both teachers, Boston Public School, my husband, retired and home, enjoying life, and being the president of this amazing organization.
And you and I have another thing in common because, of course, you were raised in the Virgin Islands, as was I for many years. Talk about how it was growing up in St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands is a place I call home. However, my birthplace is another island, and the name is Antigua. And we left as a family, like most people did, to migrate for work and stuff like that. So mom and dad headed out ahead of us to make the way for us. Myself plus 8 siblings, we moved to St. Thomas as kids, went to school. Life was amazing. And that's where I grew up. I having a conversation with my secretary earlier that we knew nothing about color. The person in my neighborhood was white, you would say. The person in high school, the only thing I hated about her, I couldn't braid her hair because it was blonde and it wouldn't stay. But life was amazing. Yeah. Life was just amazing. Living life on love and sunshine and white sand beaches, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, not like what you see up here.
Hello.
Real white sand beaches.
That's right.
You know, we're here because, as I mentioned, we're celebrating all the 5 women who are part of this amazing documentary. But in your words, tell our audience, what is vitiligo?
Vitiligo. First, the pronunciation of it was hard. We had to learn. The doctor said, think of little I go and change that to vitiligo. And so we had to practice that a bit. And then it comes with another dreaded sentence, no cure. And what vitiligo is unbeknownst to you, and then they're saying that some may be inherited, some may be from natural. It's so many theories to this, but it's a condition where your melanin, your beautiful skin color, is dying. No rhyme or reason. Stress has something to do with it. This and that has something to do with it. But you're losing your color, and white patches begin to appear on various spots, areas of your body. You know, for some, like in the case of myself, spots started on my left thumb, and the very identical appeared on my right thumb, and then it goes to your left cheek, and it's a dance, it's a saga. And so there's treatments that were offered back then, such as light treatment, which is the hardest because it's time consuming. And to leave a kindergarten class on various days to say you're going for treatment, that was not heard of or even pretty much allowed. I couldn't do it. Then the doctor suggested some steroid kind of treatment that did nothing for me. And I tell you, Tonya, the hardest part about some of these things, they were not covered by insurance. That steroid treatment was ridiculous and did nothing for me. So here I am at age 40, just got over my 45th birthday, which another theory says you'll get it very young, before age 25. Ladies and gentlemen, it comes to whomever, whenever. And so preparing for my 46th birthday, and this was a new uninvited guest. And so life has been, from that moment, it's been changed.
You know, you touched on something. Vitiligo really doesn't have a person or a place or a race or anything, but sometimes you hear that, oh, it's a Black person's disease. Can you just talk a little bit about and just kind of kill that idea in people's head about it being a Black person's disease?
I think all of us heard this from, I think it was Channel 2, the PBS as children. Education is fundamental. The lack of education, it can be destructive, because without knowledge, the people perish. And so I heard that very same line as recent as a month ago from someone talking about me attending a function this past Monday, and oh, that disease, oh, isn't that just a Black person disease? Absolutely not. I just gave my secretary this morning a stack of survey that we've been collecting from dermatologists of how many patients they see, the race breakdown of it, and people are going to be shocked when that is posted. Because let me be frank, when it comes right down to the dollars and cents, if you want to call it that, it appears as more Caucasian people get it than Black people. The only reason is you're going to see mine, it's pronounced because of my darker pigment. So the myth needs to go away, the myth needs to die, but vitiligo has been around for a long time. And I pray that Vit Friends can be the catalyst for change. That's my hope and dream.
You know, you talked about there being no cure, and even the doctors, even the dermatologists, some renowned, who we interviewed for this film, really don't have a pinpoint as to how it's caused. They have some theories, as you alluded to. There are theories that maybe it's hereditary, it's an autoimmune disease, so maybe it's passed on by other people who have autoimmune disease. It can be environmental, it can be stress. But a couple years after you were diagnosed, your husband Roy was also diagnosed with vitiligo, and that must have been like mind-blowing. Like, how did you guys kind of deal with that, and what was that like when you found out that Roy was also diagnosed with vitiligo?
You're touching a sensitive, you're getting to my emotion piece. When I was diagnosed, I'm going to be frank with you, I didn't want to undress before him, around him. Life changed. But he would embrace me and he would say, I love you regardless. It doesn't change you. You're still you. And so one time I said to him, would you come with me to the doctor? And I remember the doctor saying to us, do you know that if a wife is pregnant, the husband can feel some of the things, even take on the morning sickness and what all that is. And he said that is an extension of the love that this person is taking on, bearing some of your. And he said, for both of you, and if we put you in a ballpark of so many thousands of people to a ball game, you guys would break a record, whatever. Because at the time, he said he'd not seen another couple. For me, it was shocking because Roy is a darker skin tone, and I was so afraid that his will be even more pronounced. But he said, Val, I love you just the way you are. And if I ever get it, I'm okay. Oops, the dreaded words, if I ever get it. And that was a concern of his family. I love my in-laws to death, but they were concerned, is he going to get it? And I would always reassure them, at least try my best to reassure them, no, he won't catch this because it is not contagious, ladies and gentlemen. So we're sticking with the theory of the doctor that my boy, Roy, loves me so much. Now our journey is together, even more than our marriage, even more than being parents. We're journeying on this vitiligo journey together. And yes, 2002 was my official diagnosis. 2005, I said, baby, you got to go to the doctor. It was right up under his eye. Then it was right next to his nose. I said, we got to go. And sure enough, the doctor said, and we walked out of there, we embraced, and we drove around a bit, and I think we ended up in Watertown at a restaurant. I can't even tell you how to get there. But we ended up in Waltham at a restaurant and just sitting and talking and just saying, I love you, you ugly, but I still love you, you're still mine. We just encouraged, reassured each other that I'm not gonna run away, because we've heard stories. We've heard stories of husbands that have cut their losses. I don't wanna be with her, she's changing.
Wow.
Oh, we've heard it. We've heard all sorts. So I'm grateful to God that he's given me a partner in more ways than one. And
I've been around you both, and you guys are such an amazing, powerful couple. We're going to take a quick break, more with Valarie Molyneaux and how Vit Friends was born. But first, here is one of the trailers for the upcoming film documentary, More Than Our Skin, featuring Valarie, titled Lean on Me. You're listening to the Power Play Show.
That first meeting, July, I don't remember the exact date sitting here, but it's on everything. I put everything on the website so I don't lose it myself. We had a good little crowd. There was 18 of us at that first meeting in the Breakfast Nook at the Ramada in Dorchester. And God said to me that day, this is it. year, we had it again. From that day, I said, God, I'm going to ride this thing with you. And it's been that way ever since. I'm in awe of what is happening with us, to us, and for us. And it can only be God. We are here about the people. I like how Alicia, my leader in Minnesota, says, peer-to-peer support is what we're here for. And we're doing it 24/7. There's not a day that goes by. Every day of the week, we're engaging, we're meeting, we're talking to folks across the globe. We used to say across the nation, but that's not true anymore. And so for Vit Friends, our aim is to continue on this upward motion because God is propelling us upward. It's nothing I'm doing. We want this to make a difference. We want this to be the clarion call that we're here. We are living, we're surviving, we're making it happen. And we're open as a vitiligo community, and especially as a Vit Friends community. We're open to all.
Now, back to the PowerPLAY show.
We're back with Valarie Molyneaux, founder and CEO of Vit Friends, who had to put her sweater on because it's a little cold where she is. But I want to talk about first, before we get into how Vit Friends was born, how did you first encounter any kind of support group or meeting or anything for people with living with vitiligo?
One of the questions I asked the doctor was, how am I going to look? What's going to happen? And he said, it takes its time. For some people, the time is, could be long, but changes are going to happen. And I was starting to see them slowly all over my body. And I decided to take a day off, come to his office and just sit. Just sit to see who I would see. And sadly, that day, nobody with anything that was pronounced that I would say, ooh, came to the office. And so I remember asking him as well, was there any support group? Any group of people that I can talk to? And the answer was no. Oh my gosh, I was broken from the announcement. I was broken from the no cure. Now I was even more broken and so I stopped doing everything. No party. I would, host an annual Valentine's function with a dear friend, Michael Doughton and others. And I stopped doing everything except for going to work, the paycheck, and it was needed, going to church, no grocery store for me, none of that kind of stuff, no opening the door for the mailman, none of that kind of stuff. And so I had to get out of that spot. I had to get out of there. So I started praying. What can I do? There's something, I should be able to do something. I didn't have a template. I didn't have a role model. I didn't have any of it. And so I got to praying, and as it came to me, I grabbed a pen and I started writing. And it was as if I created a full business plan and didn't even know what a business plan was. And so I decided, after I had it together on paper, let me throw it out there on Facebook. If you have vitiligo, would you join me at the Boston Bowling Alley in Dorchester, Massachusetts There's a Ramada next door, and I can secure, if you tell me early, I can secure you a room. I had a couple. She is today my vice president, Patricia Rossi, her husband and her mom. I had another family of 5 from New York. I had Millicent and her mom from Connecticut, a young woman and a best friend from New Hampshire, and the rest of the people. Shirley Walcott, the first person in my life that I've ever met with vitiligo, had some spots and a white patch in her hair at a church in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And I said, what does this girl have? She was at that first meeting.
Wow.
And oh my gosh, they all responded. And that was the kickoff. It felt amazing. It felt like new life. I was re-energized. It was a rebirth for me.
Because you knew you weren't alone. You knew that you weren't the only one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I asked at the close of the meeting, I said, how many want us for us to do this next year? And there wasn't a hand down. Every hand went up. And so we did it again the next year. Barbara Hamilton showed up, my neighbor 2 streets over, and some other folks. And it's been a run, 2009, July, and it's been a ride. There's been struggles, there's been ups and downs, but we're encouraging people, we're offering hope. I was a bit, I don't know if I should even say this on your show, you could cut it out at some point, but I was a bit discouraged this week when somebody said, you know, heard your recording, you talk too much about God. I was broken when a friend, a dear friend, who I thought knew better and knew me for me. I can't breathe I can't move my arm without him.
Right.
So why shouldn't I mention him? I was criticized this week that, you know, it took me back to some conversations I had with others over the years. Are you running a support group or are you running a religious organization? And so whatever it is, this week, I'm gonna just, you know, should I say reevaluate, rethink my language, whatever, but I want to let people know that there are others like themselves. You don't have to go into hiding. We had people not coming out of their house. At least I went to work. I went to church. We want to offer them hope. We want to offer them information, you know? So I pray that we're doing the work. I hope that, you know, God is pleased and that we're making our community proud with the work that we're doing.
Well, we don't cut God out of this show. So you are absolutely good. And you're absolutely right, because everybody kind of needs to come at this at a certain place. And this is where you are, right? And I'm wondering, you know, when you started this organization, did you ever think that this is where you would be? Did you ever think that, my goodness, I would be, you know, you're planning the 2022 national conference that's coming up in June. Did you ever think, talk about, you know, what those early thoughts were about what this could be?
Impossible, and no. Impossible. Me, a Caribbean girl, I used to be considered shy, but watch this mouth go now. Listen, no, absolutely not. Never would have, like the kids would say, never would have thunk it. No, it was just a thought. The vision was in, ooh, yeah, I think I may could do this. And, you know, I spent some time in the Virgin Islands and 2 years in Bible college. I had a full scholarship to the University of the Virgin Islands. And my pastor said, you might not want to do that. You might want to, you know, go to the Bible college. You're already playing the organ in church for us, and we'll help you, support you that way. And you would travel to the neighboring islands with us. And sounded good. And the travel lasted, where I ended up in California with a group of pastors. And when the trip was done, I had no desire to go back to the Virgin Islands. And I'm here from that day, 40 almost 48 years ago, and I stayed. And so, not me, it wasn't me. But again, I got clear, to me, it was clear instruction and a clear plan. How can I deviate from the plan? I was given a plan. If I had faltered on that plan, maybe people's lives would have been on my shoulder. I couldn't walk away from the plan. I had to follow through. But I asked God, would you give me some people to help me? Would you give me some people? And even today, I need guidance. Would you give me some people to help me? And I still, in those early years, wanted to do everything by myself. I would do everything by myself. So one of the women from Cambridge said one day, you need to learn to delegate. Oh my gosh, as if she took a hammer and tapped me on my head. To this day, I give that sister credit, because I changed things around and I said, no, I can't carry this bucket of water. I can't do this. I can't. And it's been working. Delegating has been working. And we want to be a role model, an example, and we pray that we're making our community proud.
Vit Friends has gone international. Can you talk about how you were able to even expand this organization outside of the US? Because that's huge.
It is huge. And I don't take credit for any of it, like I just said, and I would continue to say. In Him I live and move and have my being. And the identical instructions that I followed, which was to post on Facebook for the first meeting, I did the same thing in 2016. After rallying on the Massachusetts State House steps in 2015, with the instructions and the help of Representative Gloria Fox and her then legislative aide Meredith, it felt so good. So I came home and wow, we can duplicate that on the Capitol. I said, girl, you're from the Virgin Islands, sit down. You can't do that. And then it kept coming. You can do this. So I typed, would you join me on the Capitol steps?
The U.S.
And the
Capitol.
letters were coming, huh?
The U.S. Capitol, yes.
The U.S. Capitol steps. Mm-hmm. And Miss Tonya, I had never gone there, so I didn't even know what it looked like. You know, pictures, whatever, but the reality is I thought it was an impossible reach, something I could not do. So the letters started coming in. Letters like Nigeria and some other Kenya, can you send me a passport? How do I come? And Canada, and oh my gosh, it was unbelievable, overwhelming. And talked to my team, and we got to planning, and it happened. One young man wrote me from DC, Reverend Dr. Wallace Henry III. And how can I, when you're asking me how can you help? You're not asking me that because you love me, you know me, we're friends, we're buddies. You're asking me that because you as well got clear directives. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, I heard I need permit, I need this. He said, Valarie, I got everything. He got everything, from every permit we needed, talked to the mayor to come and speak, got the podiums, got the hotel, every lodging, everything was done by Reverend Dr. Wallace Henry III, someone I had never met, just talked to on the telephone. And that was clearly God aligning things, because I didn't have any other means of connecting with people. And so I knew that it was a higher power doing all of that. People were calling. One young girl called from Canada. Oh my goodness, I saw that. Can I come? And I said, she just started telling me her story and her born to live. She knows she was born to live. She wasn't born to die. And it rang in my head, and still today. And she said, I want to come. I said, I would love for you to tell that born to live story on the cap. Me? You want me to do what? I said, yeah. She said, I'm coming. And when she showed up, I could see people all over looking for people, but she was looking for me. And she brought her mom, her dad, her brothers, the whole family from Canada. Aisha Robinson, we just lost her dad through a pandemic, but I followed the directives. You have to follow from the beginning of time. If directions are not followed, you can have a price to pay. I am not paying no price because I'm gonna follow the directions. I was sitting in a car dealership with my youngest son, getting him his first Toyota. The phone rang as we're at the desk with the gentleman. I should be respectful and not answer that call. But clear directives said I need to answer the call and excuse myself. So my son goes, taking the call. Yep, clear directives. I got to take this call. And it was a young woman from Minnesota. Her name is Alicia. She said, am I too late? I would love to come. And she asked a question. I said, yeah, tell me a little about who you are. And with that little short story, I asked the same questions I asked Alicia. I am still working on my program, and I really feel deep within my belly that you are one of the speakers on the Capitol stage. Are you sure? Yes, stop stuttering. I'm following directions. And she tore us up on the Capitol steps with a clarion call as she closed her speech. She let out this clarion call. Look how far I've come. What a mantra.
Amazing, amazing. We're going to take another quick break, more with Valarie Molyneaux when we continue. But first, the official film trailer to the upcoming film documentary, More Than Our Skin. You're listening to the PowerPLAY Show.
Did he have vitiligo, and is that why he lightened his skin?
The king of pop had vitiligo.
I'm a Black American. I'm proud to be a Black American.
And he allegedly bleached his skin.
I have a skin disorder. There is no such thing as skin bleaching.
Let's get to the fact versus the fiction here.
He has a serious skin condition, which I have witnessed.
When people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
My world ended that day.
Because what was your biggest fear?
I'm just too fabulous for that. All of this chocolate, milk chocolate, you're saying may go away?
That's all I did was watch TV, go to the refrigerator, watch TV, go to the refrigerator. That's it. That's all I did. I wasn't doing nothing. I was staying in the house.
Next to photos, it's like, and then be the spotted one. So it was hard, absolutely.
This was gonna be it. That there was not going to be anything else out there to help me because I had already tried everything.
Why me? Especially in mornings when you had to do life again each day. I was like, why me?
Vitiligo is an autoimmune disease.
The immune system, which we know fights viruses, and vitiligo, it's the skin color cells.
Leading to white patches, often in exposed areas such as the face or hands. When patients come in, sometimes they just want to know what's going on.
Is this something that I can catch?
And once we know what causes vitiligo and what drives vitiligo, we can design treatments and be able to treat patients.
The creators of 100 Years, 100 Voices of Faith bring you More Than Our Skin, the compelling stories of 5 women living with vitiligo. It's the story of more than the skin you see. It's the pain, depression, suicide thoughts that come knowing that with their pigmentation, a bit of humanity also faded away.
I was upset. They used to stare and look and point.
How is the disease affecting them?
I didn't want to be around people.
Not leaving their homes because it so deeply affects them.
The view of all the people and them
There's no way you can hear those stories and not get personally involved.
Oh, were you burned in a fire? And I looked at him and I said, does this look like a burn?
And through their anger and pain, they're able to stand strong with the support of their communities to tell the world what they want you to know about what it means to live with vitiligo.
The journey will be hard.
They should not, make fun of people.
It's not just spots on your skin. This is affecting this.
We got to speak for those that don't want to speak, for the voiceless.
My biggest hope is that it encourage, lift up, pick up someone that's down in the dumps. Our aim is to continue on this upward motion, making it happen.
More than our skin.
Now, back to the PowerPLAY show.
Just this week, you had the opportunity to present your story to MassBio's 2022 Rare Disease Day.
Our mission is to raise public awareness. There's a lot of myth that we want to get rid of. It affects all people, so we want to offer education about what vitiligo is. We want to enhance the quality of life for people with vitiligo with our conferences that started back then and still continues, and with our networking and sharing of information.
Why was this important to you?
To be asked to do this was an honor, a total honor. But they asked, and then I had to come back with an ask. I said, has vitiligo ever been presented? Now, they heard of me through a spread in the Boston Globe back in September. That's how someone from the governor's office, I was told, heard about it. And they came through my state rep, Rob Consalvo, and we had a meeting here in the office, and the ball started rolling. What an honor to be asked to do that. But again, I asked the question, has vitiligo ever been, because they've been around, if I'm not mistaken, since 1985? I can't remember. Don't hold me to that. But they've been around a while.
Yeah.
And so when I asked the question about, has vitiligo ever been presented on your day? And she said, no, I was really taken back, because this is not a new disease. It's been around for centuries. And more light needs to be shed on this condition and the toll that it takes on people's lives. So I was honored to come. They wanted me to tell a little of my life and a little of the support group. So I pray that I did well, and I hope that it was received. And I was happy to do it. Nervous, but glad to be able to do that.
And you were so wonderful to invite me to accompany you there, and you did a fantastic job. Only person to get a standing ovation that day, so it was really great to see you there. You travel and talk about why it's important for people to pay attention to what it means to live with vitiligo. How would you measure your success so far?
I think I'd want to say it's hard to measure, but the gauge for me right now is the fact that the amount of groups people that would call and say, how did you do it? What do I do? And so we want to avail ourselves to be a template, a starting point for you. Come and see what we're doing, be a part of the, we want you to come and belong, so that we could train you, help you, empower you, so that you can go off and start your own group. I on my roster right now, I have Trinidad is an island in the Caribbean pending. Barbados is pending. Puerto Rico is pending. There are 2 groups out in California, but the distance, 9-hour difference between them. So there's somebody midpoint that wants to come on to Vit Friends. So that's California. And the latest one just touched my heart, because this was a family that we met in 2019 when we were out in Houston for our conference. And they're out of Hawaii. So could you understand Vit Friends Honolulu? Oh my gosh. And it just, I bubble on the inside. So how do I measure? I think we're doing well. We would certainly love to shore up our funding for the things, the projects we want to do in the children's area that we want to build up and the teenagers. There's just so much left to be done. And it will take hands on deck, all hands on deck to help us. So we're proud of the groups that have come along, and now some are beginning to branch off on their own. We're proud. We're so proud.
As I mentioned at the top of the show, you are one of the 5 amazing women being featured in the upcoming film documentary, More Than Our Skin. What are your hopes for this film, as this is the first time a story like this is being told, and you are kind of the catalyst for this whole project, because it was you and I who kind of came together and all of this was born. So yeah. What are your hopes for this?
Well, Tonya, thank you that this ever even happened. And my team that knows me knows I don't like to do anything alone anymore. So when we got together and we talked about it, I said, listen, it can't just be me. This community is bigger than me. And so to narrow it down to 5 and not, as my vice president, Patricia, would say, Valarie didn't bring a gang. No, I didn't bring a gang. It's only 5 of us. But we're hoping that people will get a clear and a better picture as to what this journey is all about. It starts out rough. We do a podcast, 11 years old podcast. And as I share stories with people, some of us, our stories are parallel. And some of us, our stories are so different, but we want people to get from us 5 that it's a struggle, it's a journey. The world is often not too kind to us. The stigma that it's contagious, and it's written in the medical journals, not contagious, you know? And so we want for people to get the true picture of our lives, the work that we're doing as a community. The 5 of us represent Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, North Carolina, and Minnesota. It says that vitiligo is everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's everywhere, crosses all lines. And so we want to show that picture as well. And I love that we all got to incorporate family members and friends and children. So we want that it to be uplifting, encouraging, and supportive documentary, and that people will walk away with some humility, some kindness in their heart for this. I think one of my parent at my former employer would say, this neglected, oh, you're with a neglected community. I'm gonna leave that there. Mm. It's gonna do great things.
It's gonna do great things.
Yeah.
Valarie, thank you so much for being here today. Please tell our audience how they can learn more about Vit Friends.
Thank you so much, Tonya, for having me, and my best regards to the work that you and Greg are doing for this community. May God bless you both. To get more information about us, you can reach us at by telephone 24/7. We're not shutting it down. It's open if you just simply want to talk. 844-374-3639. Our website, it's www.vitfriends, all one word, means vitiligo friends, vitfriends.org. And our website is the same, vitfriendsorg@gmail.com. We're here available to you right here in Boston. You're talking to me from the office, where we have office hours on Wednesdays and Thursdays. If people just want to come in to sit and talk, we may even provide you lunch, but you need to make an appointment to come in and just sit and have a conversation. We love you. Thank you for the work you're doing. God bless you all.
And we'll have all that information on our website as well. And if you want to learn more about the film project and outreach project, the amazing women featured in this documentary, the creative team behind the making of this film, or to leave a donation, please, you can visit morethanourskin.com. Thank you so much, Valarie. This has been great.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, join me for my conversation with Katrina Christian. Until then, I'm Tonya McGrath, and thank you for tuning in.